Let's go over the original director, Colin Trevorrow, for Star Wars Episode 9. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, as you all know, about a year ago at this point is when the big news was unveiled that Colin Trevorrow was fired by Disney, Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, etc., and was ultimately replaced by both J.J. Abrams and Trevorrow, who would write the script for the final film in the sequel trilogy, in which J.J. is all set and ready to direct it this July. Now, Colin Trevorrow recently, in numerous interviews out there, he's been responding to a lot of questions, and he's been coming out more about his experience working for, the whole entire Star Wars franchise, and what his experience was like after leaving, etc. Now, he actually responded again to a similar question about all of this, and this actually, will be linked below in the description if you guys want to go ahead and check out the full story. Now, the big question that they asked Colin Trevorrow was this: do you think the reaction to the Book of Henry had anything to do with you not doing Star Wars? And this is what he had to say. I don't know. I can't really speculate on it. I'll tell you, the reaction to the Book of Henry was far more damaging than the actual movie. And I don't mean specifically at Lucasfilm. That was a very acidic situation. And look, every director who has worked in Lucasfilm put their heart and soul into the job, and they left it all on the field. And the bottom line here is that sometimes creative people can't find a shared path through the woods. And of course, that, the ending of that statement had all to do with his creative side mixing with, of course, what Lucasfilm wanted for Star Wars Episode 9. Now, looking what Colin Trevorrow wanted to happen in this movie, we've heard numerous things like he wanted Luke Skywalker to live, or Snoke to have a backstory. He was going to do something also very much special between both Luke Skywalker and Leia well before Carrie Fisher's passing, but even after her passing, he was still going to do something very special for the character of Luke. And this really does raise a lot of questions as to what the original story of Episode 9 was really going to be. He even shared the script with Daisy Ridley about her character, Rey, and she was crying about it, which led me to believe that maybe that character died in the original story of Episode 9. Now, I think that the more important question here is, of course, how many plot elements will carry over from Colin Trevorrow's script to J.J. and Trevorrow's script that will be released at some point in time in 2019. In December is when it hits theaters. So, looking at everything that's happening with the whole entire Star Wars franchise, I want to talk a little bit about how we've seen this constant flow of firings ever since The Force Awakens, and we've seen this numerous times, and I feel like that when it comes to whoever's chosen as a director or a writer by either Kathleen Kennedy or Lucasfilm, etc., it almost feels like you don't really feel so secure knowing the fact that they're going to stay on that project from now on. A great example for this is, of course, the two original directors of Solo: A Star Wars Story, where they were just about done filming until they were let go, and Ron Howard had to reshoot 80% of the movie. The fact that that happened once, and the fact that this also happened with Colin Trevorrow, where he was basically done with his script and was fired from Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy and working on Star Wars Episode 9, the whole entire situation dates all the way back to The Force Awakens. So, looking at everything that has happened, I've never seen something like this in my entire life when it comes to a franchise from movie to movie, having all these different firings ranging, of course, from writers to directors, etc. Now, looking at Colin Trevorrow's script, especially, it really does raise a lot of questions. Exactly how would he have actually ended the entire sequel trilogy? He even went over before in the past that he was actually pouring his heart and soul into the overall story. And to be quite honest, guys, he seemed like a passionate guy, and through the results of Jurassic World and the Book of Henry could have very well had an effect on, the big decision for Colin Trevorrow's exit by Lucasfilm. But I think there's a whole lot more to it than just that. I think that Kathleen Kennedy, since she does seem to step into the creative side of things here and there, I think she definitely disagreed with some of the creative aspects of his story, and then that's where an argument started to take place, and they split their ways. That's what I believe. Now, the one thing that really does bother me when it comes to this franchise is Kathleen Kennedy, and how she hires these, let's say, writers and directors, and she absolutely, trusts them and believes in them, and they're almost done with the project, whether it be the script or principal photography, and then they're fired, and then that's that. So I hope we don't run into that again in the future, especially with episode 9. Could you imagine, perhaps, maybe, if they're like 80% finished with episode 9, and they let J.J. Abrams go? I know that's not going to happen, but could you imagine if that happened again? It wouldn't be good for either Disney and Lucasfilm. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.